When people who pretend to be tough gangsters and break the law are actually sent to prison, it creates new and unusual situations. These cases show us how these gangsters react when they realize they will be spending time in prison. In September 2010, 18-year-old Conrad Troja was leaving school when he faced a terrifying situation. A man with a gun approached him and demanded his bag. When Conrad refused to comply, he was shot in the chest. Despite being wounded, Conrad managed to get away and call for help before tragically passing away. The perpetrator, identified as Tavion Wilcox, fled but was later caught and charged with attempted murder. As it turned out, Tavion Wilcox didn't appear as tough during the interrogation. Wilcox attempts to maintain a calm facade, pretending to be clueless about the situation. However, unbeknownst to him, his getaway driver has already been caught and confessed to their involvement. Now the detective's challenge is to figure out a way to make Wilcox confess as well. Put yourself in the shoes of an 18-year-old who got caught up in a terrible situation and unintentionally shot and killed an innocent person. No matter who you are, fear will consume you. And now, as a police officer starts talking, Wilcox feels even more anxious. He sits hunched over in his chair, showing he's listening intently. When given the chance to speak, his responses sound muddled and bewildered. The cop senses he has Wilcox on the defensive, and all that's left is to wrap things up. The detective skillfully employs the known facts to put pressure on Wilcox. Even though Wilcox is overwhelmed by the situation, the detective's choice of words makes him feel like he's being depicted as a heartless and ruthless individual. Wilcox's reactions clearly indicate that this technique is taking a toll on him. He avoids eye contact, displays a sense of shame, and rubs his head in a pacifying manner, revealing his immense stress. In a moment that contrasts with the tough gangster image, Wilcox breaks down and begins to cry, expressing his desperation not to return to jail. The detective seizes this vulnerable moment to push him further, urging him to be honest and reveal that he is not the monster everyone perceives him to be. This is Wilcox's final chance to set things right and clear his name. With a sudden confession, Tavion Wilcox admitted to shooting Conrad Troja and received a life sentence all over a school bag. However, Demetrius Cox wasn't as fortunate, facing a different fate. Next up is in the early months of 2020. A war erupted between rival gangs 438 and FNF. Numerous shootings were reported, leading to the deaths of several individuals, including a tragic incident at a house party in Davenport, FL, where 20-year-old Wolf Luma lost his life. The perpetrator of this shooting was swiftly identified as 20-year-old Demetrius Cox. 2 weeks later, Cox was arrested under suspicion of murder, and the interrogation that followed led to an astonishing and unforgettable moment in interrogation history. But at the beginning of the interrogation, Cox remains respectful, but as the conversation progresses, he frustrates the detective by refusing to divulge information that could implicate other members of his gang. Such loyalty is quite common in cases like these, but it can ultimately backfire, as demonstrated just a few minutes later. What adds intrigue to this case is that the detective isn't completely certain that Cox is the actual killer. As Cox pointed out earlier, much of the evidence is based on hearsay, making it challenging for the detectives to use it in court. This uncertainty is precisely why Cox is being interrogated in the first place. If they could obtain a confession, it would significantly simplify their task. However, despite their efforts, Cox remains unyielding and refuses to give in. The most intriguing yet tragic twist occurred shortly after the interrogation took place. On the same day, Cox was released on bail, but tragically, only 11 hours later, he was shot and killed by another member of his gang. This turn of events suggests that if he had confessed during the interrogation, he might have saved his own life, even if it meant spending it in prison. Despite maintaining his composure during the interrogation and upholding his gangster image, Cox's fate took a devastating turn afterward. And if you watch more videos like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up for this video.